Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Joy to
Hello, thank you for listening to A Glimpse of the Kingdom. I'm David Pendergrass. You know, there is nothing at all like the holidays to bring out all the dysfunction in families. And every single year I'm reminded of that because I have family myself and I love my family dearly, but I also, of course, I've done counseling for many years, and I'm reminded all the time of boundary issues and how relationships work and with your family, extended family. And I just the other day heard a story from a dear friend, and we were talking about this in our men's small group that we have. And I thought, what a wonderful example it is of the kind of stuff that so many people go through. And if you're listening to this, you might be able to relate to sometimes the silliness and sometimes the very serious issues that can take place in a family and the dynamics, particularly when you've not been at home for a long time. It's a very common thing for people who go to university, college, wherever, and come back home during the holidays to find out that their family is a whole lot crazier than they thought. And and I mean that in its kindest, non-technical sense. They're not really crazy, but they just notice how they've changed. And it's easier to see how your family does things that you didn't notice as much before, but then you're just kind of free from it, and now you notice it very clearly. And it can be very disturbing. And this also happens when people get married and move off and then come back for the holidays, and which makes sense for a lot of people who can't wait to leave home and can't wait to get out of their home visit and so forth. And that's unfortunate. And a lot of people love their home visits, and you might be listening to this and go, I love my family, and we never have any problems or arguments, and that is outstanding. Good for you. So this podcast is not for you. And maybe it's for you to help other friends who do have situations where they go back home and they're just things that irritate the snot out of them because mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, in-laws, whomever can drive you crazy. Well, anyway, my friend was telling the story how this just happened just the other day, and he and his wife just had their first baby boy, and I'm just so proud and happy for them, and just delight. They're great people. And his parents came to visit. And the idea usually when parents come to visit is to help take care of the family and take care of the baby, just, particularly the parents, but to be along call and to help the parents who are taking care of the baby. And the mom was doing that a whole lot, but the dad was acting like he always does. He would eat his food and leave all his food done. So my friend had to put up his dirty plates afterwards. He wouldn't clean them after himself. And his dad used the computer for hours and hours and hours. He had a job, and that's in all fairness, but my friend has a job, and he couldn't get his job done because his dad hogged up the computer. And then there was a time when the dad, if he wasn't eating food and working on the computer, he was watching TV. Well, one night this was happening, and he was watching a TV show, which they all enjoyed, which was fine. And then my friend came up and said, hey, do y'all mind if we, he was making steak. He got the steak already. Steak's almost done. All right, hey, mom and dad, do you mind if I change the show to watch a different show? And the mom said, sure. And so he got the plates ready and whatever, and then went over to the remote control and changed the show. Well, the dad looked real ticked off, real peeved. And he came to eat dinner, and his dad said, that was very selfish of you. And he said, basically, what? And he said, I asked y'all if you want to change the channel, if we can watch a show. And mom said, yes. He goes, well, I didn't hear it. And then his mom said, yeah, that was very rude of you. And well, this started an argument. My friend had been working so hard the last several years of his life, working on healthy boundaries and communicating how he feels. He came to one of my classes on boundaries a few years ago at a church. And I'm so proud of him and proud of his wife too. But my friend had really been working hard on this. So he stayed and kind of stood his ground. And he thought for a second, he was telling us in the small group, I was thinking, am I selfish? Was I selfish to change the channel on my own TV? But he said it hit me very quickly in the conversation. I thought, no, I live here. That's my TV. And so my friend said, it ensued an argument. And it wasn't a horrible argument. They didn't throw their steaks at each other or their plates across the room. But they argued. They disagreed. And his dad did several things, and his mom said several things, and the mom said several things. And my friend was wondering our opinion on it. And I encouraged him and said, from what you've told me, your dad is acting like the classic child ego state. In psychology, there's a system called transactional analysis. And he acts that way all the time. And I asked him several questions. I'm just giving you the Cliff's Note. version of this. But the point is, I know I'm right. I've encountered that kind of personality type a lot in my life, and he was the entitled little brat in that instant. And so since he got his feelings hurt, and the dad can't process his feelings, he turned it around on my friend and said, "You're the one being childish." Just because my friend, who had asked permission, "Can we change the show?" Of course he's not being childish. My friend did the appropriate adult thing. But since his dad was acting like a child and is not able to process his emotions well, he turned it on my friend. Well, of course, that hurt my friend's feelings. And he's thinking, basically, I'm paraphrasing, "Dadgummit. I mean, the whole point of coming here is to help us out. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But on top of that, his dad's just getting in the way." And it's reminded him of the dysfunction of, and they're not all awful, not all bad people. If you're listening to this right now, you might have the problem where it's all or nothing, and we call that splitting in psychology, where, well, David, they also do good things now. They do good things too, and of course they do. Of course his friends do good things. They're not horrible, evil, satanic people. It's just that they have very unhealthy boundary problems. Moreover, when my friend, in the last several years, last couple years in particular, when he starts talking about boundaries and so forth, even when he talks about his feelings, or he tries to figure out what his family's feelings are, he'll say, "Dad, are you feeling so-and-so right now?" Because his dad won't say how he feels. He just accuses everybody of everything. So when he says, "Dad, are you upset right now?" the mom intercedes like a linebacker and says, Don't listen to him. Don't even answer it. That's all that psychology nonsense. He's trying to psychoanalyze you. I said, good Lord, what a defense mechanism. And I know many couples that way. Oh my Lord, I know many couples where the mom is a rescuer, the wife is a rescuer, and the dad is a little baby. And the mom is just blocking all the insults and all the attacks. And they also block the husband from dealing with reality. And it is extremely unhealthy for that to happen. That man is a grown-up, but inside he acts like a child in these areas. And sometimes they act like a child in all areas. Well, the mom's playing profound defense because now the dad's little feelings are hurt over something that's so silly and insignificant. And when my friend starts to talk about his feelings, they block that too. That's just trying to psychoanalyze. And his mom has shown over the last couple of years that all that psychology is kind of the devil and just give me the Bible. And so that's what the parents did, even in this conversation. You know, they said to my friend, "You're supposed to honor your mom and dad. You're supposed to honor your mother and your father and mother." And that now this is David talking, that what just ticks me off. I've heard that one several times in my own life from family members. When a person uses the Bible against you and they have no idea who said that in the Bible, where it comes from, what the context is, and how to apply it. And it reminds me very quickly, you might think this is so hateful. It's not hateful because it's a very good example. It reminds me very, very quickly of one character in the Bible who uses the Bible and rips it out of context to get what he wants. And it's Satan. Satan does that when he tempts Jesus. He quotes from the Bible to try to get what he wants. So you can use the Bible all you want, but using the Bible inappropriately is what Satan does. It is an evil way to use the Bible. Well, my friend had to navigate all these, waters of family members and how to deal with this or that and how to deal with, you're blah, 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 blah. I asked him, how did it end? He said it ended fine. It ended all right. We hugged it out and whatever, but that's it. I mean, nothing's really resolved. And the bottom line was my friend is very sad and frustrated because he doesn't want this to be this way. He wants his dad not basically to act like this, and he wants his mom not to act like that as well, and he wants to be able to have a healthy, vibrant, growing relationship with his parents. That's what he wants. I mean, he does. My friend's a really good guy. He really is. He's a solid guy. And that's what he wants, and he deserves that. He deserves to have parents who tell their son how they feel about stuff, and he deserves parents who act like adults and go, about a TV show, oh, no problem. It's no big deal. It's your home. By the way, forget if it's just your home. It's just a TV show. This just doesn't matter. How can I be of service? How can I help you? And my friend's not demanding he paints the house and fixes the roof. It's just, please clean up your own junk. Clean up your own dirty dishes. I mean, these are reasonable expectations that my friend has. And I'm not saying just because my friend, believe me, I tell many, many times my friends have unreasonable expectations. These are reasonable. He deserves to have it. But therein lies the problem. He deserves something that he cannot get. He cannot get. So I have some tips in this last little few minutes of the podcast. If you find yourself in these kinds of situations where being with family, and whatever that means to family or friends, particularly during the holidays or in that season now, or maybe the birth of a child or birthday parties or whatever, and it brings out sometimes the worst in your family, here are some tips. Here are some things that I'm telling you I know work. I have had to practice these all my life too, and they work, and they're going to help you too if you take them to heart. I've used this in counseling for years and years, and no extra charge for this. Here's just some tips. You don't have to memorize all these, but it'd be good if you did, or maybe re-listening to this podcast. Okay, a couple things. All right, number one, you need to prepare in advance. Prepare in advance. Think about it. You need to be strategic about this, because why? It's coming, so don't be surprised. There is enormous power in being prepared for craziness. Because when we're surprised, it really affects our brain and our brain chemistry. So take away the shock factor by knowing whatever it is your dysfunction is. When you see mom, dad, in-laws, aunts, uncles, maybe it's your cousins, whomever it is, if you see him or her coming, they're probably going to do blank. They're probably going to talk about Obama or Satan or the end times, or they're going to make racial slurs, or they're going to, whatever the issue is, they're going to do it, and it's going to set you off again. Or they're going to make fun of you. Whatever the case may be is, just know it's coming. Prepare for it. Tell yourself that. Write it in a journal. Tell your spouse, particularly if you're married, your spouse can be a tremendous help for this preparation process. So just think about it. I know it's going to come. It's going to come. Now, you might be saying, David, that's very pessimistic. You're not being very hopeful in Jesus, because what if they change? Well, I hope they change. Praise Jesus, they change. But preparing for something doesn't mean you're being a pessimist. It means you're preparing for reality. The very best way to prepare for reality is base it on the past. And you're better off being pleasantly surprised than a fool. A fool. Jesus said, this is Jesus, not me, not Joel Osteen, not Oprah. Jesus said, we need to be, of course, disciples, innocent as doves and wise as serpents, or shrewd as serpents. Now, I'll talk for a while, and I'm not going to get bogged down in the way they believed about animals as metaphor. The point is, Jesus is saying, don't be naive. Be innocent, but don't be naive. And you and I must stop being naive. If in the past, for the last how many years or months, so-and-so has done it that way, or been an addict or whatever, prepare for it. It's probably going to come. Okay. Now, the reason why you can get crazy and feel so frustrated and go berserk yourself sometimes, I'm telling you, when you go back home or you're around them or wherever, is because you need something from them. That's why you get so upset. You get so upset because you need something from that person. Make no mistake about it. You need something from them. You expect something from them. That means the same thing. Listen, friend. I'm telling you, you expect them to be differently because you need them to be differently. It is a need. Now, David, no, I need air and I need water. That's exactly right. But we also have emotional needs, and our need strengths are different. I need a love for my wife differently than I need air, right? There's just different levels of need, but I do need my wife's love. I need it in a healthy sense. That is, to stay married to her, I need that. Loyalty and commitment and so forth. You need something from the person. That's why they're driving you crazy. You do not go crazy from people from whom you have no need. When I walk to random strangers, a person on the street comes up and says something mean, I might think that's kind of mean. And then I let it go. Why is that? Because I don't need anything from that crazy person. I don't need that person to validate me and think I'm so awesome or handsome or whatever. Who cares? They're just a stranger. Who cares? But if a dear loved one who knows me well thinks I'm a dummy or ugly or whatever, well, I'm going to perk up. That's going to hurt my feelings more because I need from them different things. Which leads me to my next point, okay? So first is, don't be surprised. 2, you need to get your needs met from healthy people. So you don't need it from the crazy family members. You get your needs met from healthy people, so you don't need it from the family or that person. Maybe it is the whole family. You have to get it met from other people. If your family refuses to validate you, if they refuse to congratulate on the accomplishments you've made or to validate you through the trauma you've been through, the grief you've been through, oh, it's not that big a deal. He wasn't that big a deal anyway. You know, I know he walked out on you, but who gives a rip? I mean, families like to vitiate all the time. If you need someone to validate you and the pain you've gone through or to congratulate you or to whatever, you need to have that met by healthy people. Don't need it from your family. How, David? Because you have those needs met by other people. And one thing you're going to have to do to help prepare for that part of you that still needs it from mom and dad or aunt and uncle or whomever is you have to grieve it. You have to grieve. You have to be sad and cry and journal, protest, be angry, sad, whatever feelings come out. You've got to grieve the fact that your family will not be what it is you need them to be. You need to grieve the fact that your parents, your family, whomever, are not going to be the people that you need them to be. Now, every time I've said that in counseling or life coaching situations, the person looks at me and goes, oh, yeah, well, okay, I guess kind of. And they don't believe me. And every time they come back within a couple weeks and go, David, at the time I thought that sounded kind of crazy or I didn't see why in the world I need to be sad about it, but it really hit me. I've been doing what you said. I've been journaling about stuff and reflecting on it. And it really dawned on me, my dad's never going to be the man I need him to be. My mom's never going to change. And every time they tell me, they say, and I cried, or they cry in the session with me. And I say, I'm so proud of you. This is exactly what you needed to do. It's sad because you deserve to have healthy, because you exist, you were brought into the world, but you don't get it. And that makes you sad. And it's good to be sad because you have experienced loss. And instead, we get those healthy needs that we have, like love and unconditional love and validation and encouragement. We get them from healthy people. So on the one hand, I'm getting resources or nutrients from healthy people while I'm crying and being sad about what I cannot get from my family. That process for you might take a therapist. It might take you years. It might be less serious, and it might take 1 or 2 conversations. I don't know. But you're going to have to get fed by healthy people that you get to choose, and then grieve the fact that you won't get what you need from your family, who you didn't get to choose. See, and by the way, family's like that. Family is like the workplace. You didn't choose your family. You don't get to choose where you work, typically. That's a different dynamic than it is friendship. It's different. Next step. So I'm telling you one more time. Prepare in advance. Get your needs met from healthy people. And then you grieve before and after the visit with your family. Get the grieving out of the way before and after the visit, but not during the visit. As much as possible. Okay. The next thing is you've got to work on your internal dialogue. That means you literally say this to yourself in your mind when you're with your family. You say something like this: I don't need or expect X from my family. I don't need my dad to be kind. I don't need my dad to do the dishes. I expect him to be lazy. I expect him to be hypersensitive. I'm pretending to be my friend, that story I told you. I expect my mom to defend him. I don't need her to let him speak for himself like he's an adult. I don't need that because it's going to happen. She's going to protect him like he's a baby little child. And I expect that, and I don't need her to be different. You have to say it inside. It's also helpful to have a spouse tell you that in private. Go off to the other room and say, can you tell me one more time? And to let them say, you don't need this. Remember, you don't need it. We'll get that validation and that healthy behavior from your friends or whomever, or from your spouse. But you're going to have your internal dialogue war in your mind. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. Now, by the way, I'm just telling you, it's not enough to say I don't need it. You need to say I don't need it, plus I'll get it from my friends. I'll get it from my spouse. I'll get it from just friends or spouse. That's really it. Because God will use your friends that way. My next thing is, it's okay to take a break or walk if you need to. If your family drives you that crazy, it's okay to take a break. Take a break. Go on a walk, go on a jog. I'm not saying every time you go on a jog, it's a sign that you can't stand your family. I'm just saying take a breather if you need to. If that conversation is driving you crazy, or if they're going on about Obama all over again, or whatever it is, I mean, just whatever, it's okay to relieve yourself and say, hey, excuse me, and hey, where'd you go? I'm just over here. Or, pull out a book, read a book, go turn on a TV show, go outside and get some air, and just say, I'm enjoying the weather. I mean, whatever. But just take a break if you need to. That's okay. There's nothing mean about that whatsoever. Here's another huge point. You cannot seek to change your family. You cannot seek to change your family. You need to give up the role of changer. Give up the role of fixer. You are not planted by God on this planet to fix the family member or the whole family. That's not your role. That's not your job. It's not your job. There is no Bible verse that says it's our job to control what someone else does or someone else thinks or someone else, how they behave. It's just not your job. You can influence, you can try to influence, you can try to lead, but I'm telling you, you will stay constantly locked into a dysfunctional relationship if you think it's your job to fix them. Let it go. Let it go. Come to grips with the fact that you're not there to change them. This holiday season is not Mission Fix Mom. Thanksgiving is not Operation Fix Dad. It's just not. Do not seek to change them. It leads me to the next point. Instead, seek to change you. You need to practice your own boundaries. You speak for yourself, how you feel. Even if you're the only one in the whole family. I'm so glad my friend was at the dinner table. He's the only one in the room saying how he felt. That's healthy. That's what healthy people do. And he stuck to his guns in that sense, saying, no, this is how I feel, and so forth. He even said, I really will like it if y'all would tell me how you feel versus just this other stuff. And the dad said, that's what you want. Even if we're upset, we're supposed to tell you? And he said, yes, that's what I'm saying. And he said, so you want us to tell you if we're upset? And he said it again. Yes, that's what I want. He said, okay. And that's it. That's how the conversation, they hugged, and that was it. But that's healthy. Even if he's all alone, even if you're all alone this Christmas season, practice being healthy. Have your own internal boundaries. I'm telling you, if you lash out against your parents, if you go crazy, okay, Mom, sick and tired, and you run outside and slam the door and light up a cigarette, you're no different than they are in that moment. You cannot lose control by being just like them or letting them push all your buttons. They're pushing your buttons because you need something from them and you expect them to change. And then also you get upset because you're trying to change them. Remember? So you're stopping all that. That's not your job anymore. You need to retire. You have been laid off from the job of fixer. Instead, you have a new job. Your new job is to fix you. Focus on you, what your needs are, what your wants are, and be stinking healthy when you do it. Right? Tell how you feel. And don't put yourself in dangerous situations. If they can't stop screaming, then leave the room. If they cuss, leave the room. They use racial slurs, leave the room. You don't have to be in the room when that happens. So control you. This last thing, and they're all very serious ones, they're very important ones. This last one's also very important. You need to get really serious about how you make it worse. How are you contributing to the craziness, if at all? How are you contributing to the dysfunctional dance that is your family reunions? What are you doing? Are you rolling your eyes? Do you like to pick fights? Do you act like a child too? Do you make fun of people? Do you, oh, come on, Dad, blah, 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 blah. Do you act childish? If you do, you're just doing the same thing. You can't be the adult. Someone's got to be the adult in the conversation. And if the only person is the adult in the conversation, it's got to be you. So you have to own how you are making it worse. You have to. If you are making it worse, you might not be, but you've got to be real gut level honest and ask the hard question, am I part of the problem? And if so, own it. Own it. And it might mean you have to own it to your family and say, you know what, I'm sorry. I noticed through the years that I've been so frustrated because we argue about Obama or whatever, and I've been egging it on, and I'm sorry, I apologize. That was not Christ-like. I'm a Jesus follower. I'm a disciple of Jesus, and that's not what I should have done. What I should have said was, it hurts my feelings. I should have expressed that in a better way, and from now on, I'm going to do a better job. David, I could never say that. Well, grow up. Grow up. I'm serious. I mean, become an adult and realize that's what adults talk about their feelings. And you do it in baby steps. If you're not good at all at it, you need to go to a therapist. And step by step, get to the place where you're able to express your feelings in appropriate ways. So you don't go off and eat a whole pie, eat a whole gallon of ice cream. You don't go off and smoke cigarettes and drugs. And you don't go off and do a whole bunch of sex and addictions just to process all of that dysfunctional stress that's come about. No, you process your feelings appropriately. You talk about it. You cry. You journal. That's what you do. You figure out how you're part of the problem, if you are at all. And if not, praise God. Keep being that way. Hey, God bless you this holiday season. Focus on being healthy. Focus on not trying to change them. Focus on getting your needs met from healthy people. Focus on being prepared in advance so that you're not surprised. You're focusing on not changing them. You're going to focus on taking a break if you need to. You're going to focus on how you make it worse, if at all possible, and you're going to own that. Even if it means just internally you own it, like, okay, David, I got to tell myself, don't do that anymore. It might mean you publicly apologize. Maybe you don't. Maybe just internally do it. Whatever. You're going to focus on being healthy and Christ-like as much as possible. And one last thing. If you do all these things, it is easier to do this last thing. That's why I saved this at the very end. Do your best to focus on any kind of positive you see. Now, I didn't say live in denial. That's why this is the last one. The typical religious answer is just focus on the positive, just love them, and just love them. Don't look negative, and give me 3 blessings. Well, that's nonsense. The last thing you do after you've grieved and you process your feelings, all these things, what I'm saying is if you're able to focus on even one thing that is a positive, maybe your family member is a good storyteller. Maybe your family member is a very generous person. Maybe your family member is very loving to animals. Change the subject. Talk about something you know will make you not crazy, or the person won't bring out the person's worst side of themselves. Really, do your best. If the person only is selfish and narcissistic and just talks about their interest all the time, and that drives you crazy, can you pick one subject that you actually enjoy too? That is, you're not trying to change from being narcissist, but maybe there's one subject matter you like too, and then you know what? Bring it up, and they can talk about it too. And they'll talk and brag about themselves, sure, but at least it's something that doesn't drive you crazy. You can focus on even one thing that is a positive, and then talk about that as much as you can. Don't give up, and don't go crazy, and that's how we love them. God bless you. See you next time. Thank you so much for listening to A Glimpse of the Kingdom. If you want to listen to more, go to my website, davidpendergrass.com, and look at one of the tabs that says podcast. If you click that, it'll take you straight to my podcast on iTunes, or you can search for it on iTunes if you want to, A Glimpse of the Kingdom. But also on my website, you'll see another way to get, if you're an Android listener on your phone or you just don't use Mac computers. Again, davidpendergrass.com, and click podcast. It'll take you exactly where you need to go, and you can subscribe from there and get this as often as you like, and also see my blogs and so forth. If you want to get me to come to your organization or church, otherwise to do some consulting, you need to go to davidpendergrassconsulting.com. davidpendergrassconsulting.com. You'll see the information there. If you want to reach out to me on Twitter, you can find me at Dr. D. Pendergrass, at Dr. D. Pendergrass.